Hey, how we going, guys? Mick here from Cartel. Back with another kick-ass beer. Oh, it's a multi review. This one is the home brews. So we've got 4 on tap at the moment. We've got 5 cubes ready to go into the fermenters. Plenty on rotate. We'll make it 6 because one's just gone in, and that's the Pacific, the heavy oat. A heavy amount of oats used in a Pacific ale recipe, so we're hoping to get some real sort of that sort of oat cream ales type of flavour coming across in a sort of fruity, more hoppier way with Pacific ale recipe. Right, so currently on tap, and we've been knocking down. I mean, the growlers have been flying out the door. I've just been doing growler fills and selling shitloads of grain, hops and so forth. So on tap at the moment. So for tap 1 is actually version 2 of the bubblegum coffee stout, or was supposed to be a coffee dark, like just a dark ale based type recipe, but turns really dark, more roasty than anything, really heavy sort of things going on there. Still falls into that dark ale category, porter / stout. Very different beers, in all honesty, across the variants, but is what it is. Still playing around with that recipe. Got a little bit more coffee there to play around with it. We might just bring back some of the heavier malts and go for something a little bit more lighter to try and get that one to come through as more of a dark ale than anything. Come away from maybe get a shitload of chocolate into it and back off on some of those other ones. Tap 2, we have the version 3 of the Mustic Sour. This one didn't go imperial, so it's not part of the other channel there with Unikorn Brewing Project. This is below the ABV that I would place on that channel. Tap 3, we have the American Wheat. Tap 4, I have a Sierra Nevada Torpedo clone, which is fucking ace. That's all I can say. Sort of blew me away. That keg's running out really quick, probably quicker than what I can get samples into off a bottle filler out to some people to try. Anyway, we'll do those, and we'll talk about what's in the cubes and what's brewing here at the Cartel. So we're going to start off with probably the lighter style. I put the sour before the wheat ale. I'm not 100% sure. I might go the other way. I might go the American wheat to the IPA, sort of rack my palate a little bit, and then go into the sour, because that's really going to fuck things up on the taste buds, and then go into that coffee dark. 2 variants actually. One used grape bubblegum infused coffee, the other one vanilla. This one's the vanilla. First one being the grape. It disappeared quite quickly. All right, so we'll do it this way. We'll do the. Let's hold them up first. Let's talk about what we got here. We'll go with. All right, so sort of lighter style. So we got the American wheat. Only small 200ml tasters. It is basically, I like to call this the drip tray palette. Paddle, tasting paddle. Then we'll go to. We'll talk about this, the pink mustic sour. We're not actually getting the colour come across from the pink mustics because a lot of that stuff sort of ends up sitting at the bottom of the fermenter and it doesn't actually carry through with the transfer, but the flavours are definitely there. The Sierra Nevada Torpedo IPA, slightly off colour for that clone, but like I said, Mickey Mouse. The flavours are there, and then the coffee dark slash whatever. Yes, coming in. It's starting to cool down here, so I'm starting to get keen on the darker beers. So yeah, we'll go that way. We will go with the American wheat. Straight up. Won't talk about too much about what's gone into these particular beers, but now what sort of confuses me about some of these Australian ones that have been released lately through CUB and Lion Nathan. It's going back before Christmas. Some of them actually use the coriander and the orange zest, orange peel, candied orange peel, be it fresh orange peel or dry, sweet orange peel. It also comes in a bitter variety, but I've decided to remove that from it, to keep that out of it, because it's, yes, traditionally it would be a wit beer with those ingredients. But the style, being an Aussie or an American, technically you don't use those as ingredients in it. Without pulling the nose down, did have Columbus. Simcoe and Mosaic. I think since doing the Simcoe smash beer for the World's Worst Homebrew Club thing, I've not really been fond of Simcoe, but yeah, anyway, it sits well in this one. Not too bad at all. All right, so we'll go the other way. We're going to go the IPA, won't we? So the Sierra Nevada IPA, that's the Torpedo clone. Boom. A little bit of a twist on this one. We changed out some of the hops. It does still have Chinook, Columbus, Cascade. And I think Warrior. I use Warrior at the top end. That's right. Yeah. Very much an old school type recipe. Very good clone recipe. It is available. Go check out Sierra Nevada. They do their pale ale and their torpedo recipe. They've released it, so it's on their website. We can just Google, Chrome search, whatever you want to do. Sierra Nevada torpedo recipe, and it'll actually come up, send you straight to their page. Nice, goes down really well. Like I said, it's an old school type IPA, very much like I think I got started off with 3 sheets pale ale, and I thought the 3 sheets from Lord Nelson was a really heavy pale ale. It was, for me back then, I would have put it into the IPA class, because it was surpassing a lot of those the IPAs that, it's just James Squire with their Hop Thief and all that were making at the time, particularly way back when. I think the Hop Thief's up to about number 10 now. So yeah, definitely, yeah. %. When I drink that, I just think, going back to those beers that really got me started off, not just in the craft beer scene, but the brewing, striving towards a beer like that. So yeah, we'll go the version 3 of the Pink Mustic. Now, I've really laid off on drinking too many of these. They are actually starting to upset my stomach, because I've been brewing so many and consuming quite a lot of these, particularly in the warmer months, and they go down like ice water after mowing the lawn, and really easy drinking type beers. I find that they're not particularly sit well on my stomach, but anyway. That mustic there is in the aroma, very much there in the flavour. Puckering, hits you right up in here. Probably a good, that was a pretty good order to take him in, I think. I can already feel that sort of hit in my stomach. So, definitely not a session beer. It's much like the big stouts and stuff where you're not going to drink a lot of them, but it's good to have it on tap. It's good to have it there, to have in between. One of those beers where you sort of don't feel like a beer. Much like, which I'm going to do. I'm actually going to do a Rattler as well. Used to love my barefoot Rattlers back in the day. Zesty, lemon, limes. Yeah, lovely. I have to say that the one that we brewed for Unikorn Brewing Project with the Imperial, much better than this. So it had that sort of, because it was a pastry as well, and the lactose, so the other things coming over the top of it. And this being a more sessionable type, it has half the amount of the pink mustics in it than the Imperial. So it's down there. More of the sourness comes through on this one. Sort of more of that attacks you on the jawline, whereas the Imperial still had that sort of thing going on. Plenty of lactics built up with that because of the corn syrup and the corn sugars that are in the pink mustics. They are a good confection to use in a sour beer if you like pink mustics, you like the taste of it. Pink lifesavers were also the same type of flavour, but the session type a little bit sort of thinner and sort of slides down your throat a lot better. And that takes us on to the vanilla coffee, bubblegum coffee, dark. On the nose and the aroma, it doesn't have that full-on roast, that big sort of roast thing going on there that I would get with the stouts and the porters. A little bit more subdued. Vanilla bubblegum does come across. The coffee is definitely there, but it's more like just that coffee you get if you slightly, you just walk past maybe a roasters or it's that green bean to the roast bean sort of thing in between. Not so much like sticking your nose over an espresso macchiato type thing. So not real burnt and so forth. More cold brewed, I guess you could say. Anyway, that's the coffee and the vanilla bubblegum. Call it vanilla if you like. I mean, it's not so much a bubblegum coming across in this. It gets I think it's more when that ingredient goes into it and you taste the beer, and a lot of the guys on different homebrew pages and forums have absolutely shunned it and taken a real sort of south negative effect or opinion towards the actual beer. I've questioned it in many ways and asked, couldn't think of anything worse. What are you actually getting from that? And I can't be any more honest and say, if you were to do a full-on wheat beer, wheat, heavy, anything like that, and you get those cloves and bubble gum coming across, those beers are the beers that these guys probably don't drink, and I say that confidently because this doesn't come across in the same way. It's more of, you know, like that pastry stout, that dessert stout that you get. Those types of beers probably, and I could probably put money on it, those guys actually probably drink those particular type Belgian beers and don't think second about it. You know, they just do it because they like it. Well, it doesn't mean you can't fit those sorts of flavours and that sort of descriptors and layers into a dark beer, because dark beers are very forgiving for things like that. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, so that's actually does come across more of that dark beer. I think it's a little bit heavier than what it should be, but it's trickery in the aroma. It doesn't come across like it should with a stout. So it may be just the colour, the darkness that I think doesn't sit well with this particular beer for the style. That leads me on to what's in the cubes. Like I said, we've got that Pacific oat ale in there. We have the Harvest Ale 2023, Farmhouse Sour, which is going to be a co-pitched Philly and French saison yeast. Some guys also have said that this is not going to work. I've already proven that it works. I've done it. Done a co-pitched sour with, I think it was either the mixed berry or it was the white nectarine sour. We also have the Irish cream stout. That Irish cream stout is a throw-off or sort of a clone to the current release of the counterculture. Then we've got a Munich dark, and then we've gone the wet hop barley wine, which went down yesterday. So we're pretty chuffed with the amount that's going on here. The rotation's good. We've got things just pumping through. Lots of experiments. We're going back to some of the beers that we've done that have worked out quite well, and they're definites, they're positives within the system. Munich dark, wet hop barley, and the Irish cream stout will end up probably being more on the other channel with the Unikorn Brewing Project. Farmhouse Sour will remain part of the core range, the lower level of things with Hop Cartel, and obviously the Harvest Ale 23 being on that same level as well. Cheers for tuning in, cheers for watching, cheers for bearing in with this. It's almost gone for 20 minutes, which is sometimes one of my typical ones, but this one had so much to talk about, so many things to get involved with. Don't think I can add much more to that than happy brewing, get amongst it. Looking forward to doing the trade ups very soon. Cheers.